literally beads of sweat dripping off my forehead. So what is going on, everyone, and welcome. It's kind of like the season finale of this Maltese adventure. So I made a video here 7 months ago moving to Malta, and it's been one of my most viewed videos. So this is like the final version. This is the leaving Malta. From that video I got an awful lot of text messages and messages on Facebook about people from the UK and from Eastern Europe who wanted to move here, and it seemed to be like an extremely beneficial video. So I decided I would make another one about my experience living in Malta, the pros and cons. So again, this is just my personal opinion. Maybe you will have a completely different experience, maybe you'll love it more, maybe you'll hate it. So I actually made a list of the pros and cons of my 7 months in Malta. So actually this is a good way to start off. If you can hear that there's cannons being shot in the background. So that's number one things I won't miss is the constant fireworks and cannons going off at all times of the day. Who lets fireworks off in the middle of the day? You can't even see them. So to get started properly, number one thing I will not miss is the public transport. The road system here is not good, and that's just plain and simple, and the public transport was our main mode of transport. It is busy, it is hot, it is crowded, it takes long, it is not punctual. So number one thing I will not miss is public transport. I miss my car. Number two is the cost of vegetables. Now again, this is a personal disadvantage, but the cost of vegetables is quite expensive here in comparison to where I come from in Ireland. So food in general it's not cheap, and it's quite similar to home, but vegetables especially were quite dear. And because I tend to eat a lot of them, that was something that I had to cut down on. So that's a negative for me. I couldn't eat as much vegetables or fruit because I couldn't afford to buy them, to be honest. Which brings us swiftly to number three, which is the wages. Now, of course this will vary with your job and what you do, but I was an intern at a pharmaceutical company, so my wages were not good, or in comparison to what I would be earning in Ireland, my wages were a third of what it was. So this really hasn't been 7 months where I can save a lot of money aside. To be honest, I've saved relatively nothing, and if I didn't have my own business on the side of that, I would really have been stuck. The fact that I was able to generate my own revenue as well has kept me afloat and has brought me up a little bit. So that in itself is another negative, is the fact that now job depending, but the wages are not as good here as opposed to some other places. Maybe from where you come from they're better, but from Ireland, from the UK, they're not as good. Number four, the grumpy old men and women. Of course, again, this is a personal thing, and not everyone here is grumpy, or not everyone here is old, but there are certain individuals here who are elderly, who are always grumpy, and who will let you know that they are elderly, they are grumpy, and they do not like you. But again, this is such a minute thing and you just have to ignore it. But there are some people who are just not that happy and who will just voice their opinion at you at the most simple of things. Having said that, most people here are absolutely lovely, and when we first came here, people were so helpful in showing us where to go, just general lifestyle in Malta. So majority of people are absolutely lovely. There are certain individuals who are not as optimistic and as positive as we are. Simple as that. And the final thing, which is actually quite relevant now, is the constant sweating. Now again, this is only the last probably 2 months, 3 months, so July, the end of June, July and August. My God, does it get hot here, and the humidity. So today especially, it nearly hit 40 degrees. So the locals are saying it's the worst in the last 3 years, and oh my God, I have been sweating 24/7. So if you do come here, get an apartment with air conditioning or buy a fan. Now I don't have air conditioning, I didn't buy a fan because it wasn't that warm when we first came here, and then just kind of stubbornness, and yeah, you're gonna sweat, you're gonna be hot, so prepare. So that's it, negatives out of the way, they're done. So minute that they do not outweigh the positives at all, but it's better you to know these things before you come than to come and realize it like I did. So the positives, and what will I miss? I'll miss the scenery and the traveling. One thing I love to do is travel, and in Malta there's such beautiful scenery, from cliffs to rivers to no rivers, cliffs to lakes, beautiful landscape to things you can jump off of. And for me personally, being involved in the food industry, there's so many beautiful restaurants and food to try here. So that's your thing, you will be so at home here. Like I said, the food was so good here, and you such a versatile kind of melting pot of food. From Italy, the Middle Eastern region, Maltese itself. The fact that tourism is so big here, they have food to accommodate for anyone. So if food is your thing, Malta is a really good place for that. The boat is behind me, isn't it? There it is. The thing I'll miss is my friends. I've made so many friends here, and again, that's because I've kind of gotten out of my comfort zone. I started to meet new people. I entered business competitions, friends from work. I got outside, you know, this complex. I traveled more. I met new people from all over the world, and that has been one of the biggest things here, is meeting new people, getting new friends, and friends that I will literally have for the rest of my life. So I will miss them, but I'm going to make sure that I always stay in contact, and I will be back here again to visit them. The warm Mediterranean Ocean, that open water swimming at home in the Atlantic is freezing cold, so I will definitely miss going for dips in the warm Mediterranean Ocean. There is nothing like it. It's so good. And then just like small little things like good coffee. It's so hard to get like decent coffee at home, and this region of the world do it so well, so I will definitely miss that. It's just good quality coffee. So personally, these last 7 months have been the best 7 months of my life, but they've also been the fastest. I think, and like, one thing I've really realized is like spending time alone, which sounds weird, but like spending time with yourself, with your own thoughts, doing like self-reflection is one of the most important things you can do, and has literally developed my own character, and it has been one of the most beneficial things I've ever done in my life. So the fact that I was able to like leave home and leave all of my friends and my family, as tough as it was, it has been huge for me, because I have had 7 months to literally just fucking, fireworks are everywhere. I've had 7 months to literally just be at one with my own thoughts. I've had 7 months to plan, make a plan of action, and I know what I'm going to do, I know what I want to do, and now all I have to do is do it when I go home. So in that sense, if you're coming here alone, don't be afraid. It will be a hugely beneficial thing for you. And if you don't know what to do, then I think spending time alone and being at one with your own thoughts is the only way that you can truly find your passion, or you know, what makes you happy and what you want to do with your life. One of the most thankful things I am for this trip to Malta and for these 7 months is that I've gotten to spend 7 months in a pharmaceutical company relative to my college course, and I now know that that is not for me, as in that industry and that course itself. I know it's not what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I've been able to come here with absolutely nothing and get involved in the food industry, meet new people, and literally start my own business. So if that's not confidence to take away, and if that's not a good guideline as to that's what you should be doing other than this, then you know, I don't know what is. So if you are thinking or planning on moving here, wherever you are in the world, number one, I would suggest and do it. Look, just do it. The worst thing that can happen is it doesn't work out and you go back home. If you are moving here, maybe try and have a accommodation lined up first. I wouldn't stay in the Patcherville, St. Julian's area, because that is the most expensive unless you want that. But moving outside them to places like Sweetie, to Gezira, to Pembroke, that's like a nice area, and it's a lot cheaper than being actually in St. Julian's area. There does seem to be plenty of employment here, and construction seems to be booming here. There is more cranes than cars on this island. So if construction is your sector, then I would highly recommend it, absolutely. But whatever it is, gaming is absolutely huge here, and the food industry is great here. So literally whatever you do, it's down to you. Like if you want it, then you go and get it. If not, you won't. It's simple as that. So that pretty much summarizes my 7 months in Malta. It has been amazing. A life-changing experience. You know, that's the only way I can put it. And I'm not a very spiritual person, but I really have I've found who I am, I found who I want to be, and I'm taking the appropriate steps to become that person. I'm happier, I'm more optimistic, and I don't know, like life is good and I have nothing to be complaining about. I lived in the Mediterranean for the last 7 months. It could be so much worse, and I think that's a big thing I've realized as well, is that you have a certain amount of time on this planet, so you gotta make the most of it. You gotta be as happy as you can while you do it, and if you're doing something that you love, then that is hand in hand. I think I will wrap it up here. I hope this has been helpful if you are thinking about it. If it has been, please share it with a friend, share it wherever you can. Let me know in the comment section if it has been helpful, or if you have any more questions, don't be afraid to leave them below. Even just send me a direct message if you're more comfortable doing that. So if you're new here, please do subscribe to the channel. It's only going to go up and up. So please do leave the video a thumbs up if it's helpful. Subscribe if you're new. Let me know if you do move to Malta, or if this has impacted your choice in any way. So as always, thank you for watching. Keep on cooking. Ciao, ciao.